Welcome to the Consulting Kingdom, the ultimate podcast for business consultants who are ready to master their craft and make a meaningful impact as a kingdom business. Hosted by Patrick Bell, this podcast dives into powerful strategies and actionable insights that will help you grow in your consulting expertise. Through expert interviews, the Consulting Kingdom pulls from our guests their advice and equips you with the tools and knowledge and heart direction necessary to drive extraordinary results for your clients and your business. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on social media for exclusive content and updates. Now, get ready to unlock your consulting potential with the Consulting Kingdom.
Hey everyone, it's Patrick Bell in the Consulting Kingdom. I'm here with my guest today, Jodine Theron. Jodine, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Pat. I'm very happy to be here with you today.
All right, I'm detecting a bit of an accent there. What's going on? Where is that from?
Well, it's my accent started in South Africa, where I was born, and then I also lived in Australia for 20 years. So you might pick up some Australian twang there a little bit.
Okay. So, Jodine, you've been a consultant in the past. I think by God's providence, as you stated, you've transitioned from a consultant to really being a consultant now to Kingdom Growth Engine, and been elevated or promoted, or I'm not sure what the word would be, into the role of Chief Product and Technical Officer. Tell us a little bit about, first of all, your consulting journey and then how you've ended up here with us.
I think my consulting journey really started in my corporate career in Australia. Worked for big corporations, a lot in the mining, construction, and health industries for the government. And so, um, from my experience working in the corporate industry, consulting was very much always tied to, big corporations, government agencies, and you work on contractual, big projects. And so, for me, I actually learned quite a lot of different skills and a very fast-paced environment, because you'd work on one project and then you'd work on another one. And so my CV is quite big because I did so many different projects. But I loved it. I learned all sorts of things in all sorts of different industries. And that's actually where I first came across working in sort of IT and technology projects. And I really liked that. And so I've always had a big interest in technology, software, and those kind of things. I'm a little bit geeky in that way. And from there, there was the 2008 downturn, financial crisis. And because in the project world, they often let people go, they stop projects. And so that was the first time I sort of tried to venture into the online space. And at that time, it was a lot of personal development stuff, start your own business online. And that's where I sort of started going into marketing and coaching. Um, but I did that for a few years. I learned a lot of skills. I'm very glad that I did do those things, because I feel the role that I have now at Kingdom Growth Engine, it helps me to understand everything and all the different departments and how to bring things together and make a great product for our clients. So, um, but I got tired of the coaching industry because I just felt like it wasn't very honest, and people didn't seem to care so much about taking people's money and not actually getting them results. And coming from a consultant sort of background, we want to get results for people, right? We expect that when people give
Right.
us money, we're going to get them results. So I actually, earlier this year in January, I felt God calling me to shut down my business. And so I didn't know what I was going to do. I struggled a lot internally, because you feel like I've put so much hard work in. I've tried to build all of this stuff for so long, and I just feel like I'm almost there. I'm almost, achieving what I really felt called to do in my life. And so it's a difficult thing to hand everything over to God, but I trusted that, I felt like the Holy Spirit was telling me to let it all go. So I did that, and I instantly felt peace about it. So I think this is when we know that God is speaking to you, when you feel peace about doing
Hmm.
that thing. And from there, it was 6 months. I didn't hear anything. I still didn't know what I was going to do. And Patrick and Holly came back into my world, and I started the process of actually testing out the software that you guys launched at that time, which was the Accelerator
Right.
app, and the rest is history from there. So yeah.
Well, you didn't know that you'd be jumping from having a hard time there in coaching into the fire of a startup company. We had no idea,
No.
right?
No, I didn't have the idea. However, because I have been working for myself for over 10 years, I know exactly how much hard work there is into building a business. So it's not like I didn't expect that. Oh, this is going to be cruisy or easy. But my personality type, I also like a challenge. I like to challenge myself, and I like to learn new things. And so I was actually very excited, and the idea of actually working alongside others who also have the same faith principles as me was
Right.
just such a blessing to me. So yeah.
Now, explain to the audience where you live, what you do in your all your free time that you have. A little bit tongue in cheek there. A little bit about your personal life, because that for me it's just fascinating.
So when I was in Australia back in 2018, it was sort of the time in my life where I just felt drawn to just do a big drastic change in my life. I wasn't really happy, what was where I was going, and so I just thought maybe I need to make more international friends. And so I started just, going on different Christian websites and just sort of making friends all over the world. And I thought, let me let me see if I can make friends in Namibia. Namibia is a country just above South Africa, and it is where my mum was born and grew up. And I've always wanted to come here. So, in a long story short, I made friends with Herman Moorman, who is now my husband, and we met. I came over to Namibia to visit. We got married. I moved all my stuff from Australia, and we live in a mud hut village, so the far northern parts of Namibia. We live here by choice. We don't have to live here, of course, but I just feel a calling to help the people here, the villagers, people that still live like they have done for hundreds of years without electricity, without running water, without sanitation, without proper education. They lack so many basic things that we take for granted. And so
Sure.
I think for me, I just want to live the rest of my life out actually having a real impact, and using my skills and any money that I generate as income to actually put back into communities like this to have a difference of some kind.
That's amazing. So you've really balanced. Um, you got. I mean, you almost have two sides of your life which have to intersect on a daily basis. You have this high tech software, gadgets, AI world, and this very low tech, go to the river to get running water kind of thing. Is that right? To
Yes.
go get drinking water.
Yes. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, we make
Okay,
fire
so
too if we want hot water.
you got to make a fire. You got to build a fire and boil it over over the flames.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. You must have a lot of patience for that, and a lot of grit, I think, to be able to do really well and thrive in that environment. I find it very admirable.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about. Let's go to the other side, the consulting side. You're kind of a tools junkie, app junkie in a little bit of sense, which of course we've benefited from. Talk to me about some of your favorite apps or tools that you use as a consultant or as a someone in marketing, as someone who likes to grow businesses.
Well, I would say obviously I'm going to be biased and say Kingdom Growth Engine is a great tool to use as a
What's your
consultant.
favorite? A good answer.
Um, and I'm going to tell you the reason why. And I think this is also why I think I love consulting so much. Because generally, first of all, you have to be a person that really cares to help others. Secondly, you have to have the skills to do so. And thirdly, you have to be a person that loves asking the right questions. And so, what I love about our tool is that we've done all that work for you. So, we make it really simple and easy to be able to ask the important questions so that we can establish where the client is at with their business and then put a plan in place on how we're going to help them achieve those goals. So, for me, it's all around asking the right questions and then caring enough to actually help that client.
Yeah, and so what? Okay, so I agree. Kingdom Growth Engine as a software tool is our favorite, our current favorite, and maybe our well. There's no equal to it.
Yeah.
What other tools would you recommend to a consultant who's maybe just getting started? Um, they're they're beginning as a consultant. Maybe they've been in business for quite a while, and they go, you know what, I need some tools to get going, to have an impact in other businesses. So, what kind of other tools would you recommend, or resources would you recommend?
I think in business, what I've learned along the way, especially when it comes to technology, both for you, the consultant, and your clients, you got to keep it super simple. Do not overcomplicate it. Do not use, 20 different tools to run your business because that's so time consuming to try and integrate everything, to create systems around that, to train your clients. This is something that I found was a big challenge for me is to help clients that are technically challenged to be able to use the software and the systems that I put in place. And so that's my responsibility to make sure that I keep things as simple as possible. So, in terms of consulting, you know, using something like ChatGPT is definitely something all consultants should use because it's going to increase your ability to brainstorm, to come up with ideas. And of course, if you're a good genuine consultant, ChatGPT is just there to help you to work through your thinking. It's not going to give you the answers because you still need to evaluate if the results that you get is actually valid and good.
Yes,
So
sure,
ChatGPT, I love ChatGPT. It just has speed up so many things for me. I use it all the time, and I'm sure you agree, Pat. I know you use it a lot too.
absolutely, on a daily
So
basis.
yeah,
Yep.
and the great thing with technology these days, there's so many things that are just free. So I definitely recommend that whatever tools you're going to use, keep it simple. Invest in using tools that you actually will use every day or every other day. Those things that you buy and then you never use, get rid of it. And the things that you want to use, slowly start to automate stuff. Because here's the thing with technology and automations, if you put things in place and you try and automate things before you've actually tested out your complete system or standard operating procedure in that area, then you're just going to mess things up. So, manually doing something first, and that could literally be just sign up for a Google Suite. I love Google. Everything is so integrated, it makes it super simple. You just have to spend a little bit of time to actually get to know how to use it. And you can just use Google Suite and ChatGPT and Kingdom Growth Engine, and you'll have a great business to start off with.
Yeah, it's amazing because when I met you and you started teaching me about Google Suite, there were so many things that I learned I could do in just my normal Google Suite that we had, paid subscription for our business, obviously, but it's like $12 a month. But the calendar option, the meetings, different things like that. I could get rid of Zoom. I can get rid of Calendly right off the bat, and I'm sure we're just scratching the surface of what Google
Mm.
Suite can do. But
Yeah,
yeah. So
it's
how
also
do you ensure
integrated
that you
with.
continue?
Sorry, I was just going to say it's also
Oh,
now integrated with AI, right? The whole Google Suite. So yeah,
right.
it's
True.
it's
Yeah, that's
really
right.
tracking towards simplifying and speeding up efficiency in all areas.
So how do you ensure you continue to learn and grow in, your role, and to give you an advantage in the marketplace, to give us an advantage in the marketplace?
I think for me, my main focus, even from my corporate career time, has always been to want to improve things, to simplify things and improve things. And that's always my focus. That is how I keep driving forward. That's how I, um, you know, be the best that I can be on a continuous basis, because I want to make things better. I want to improve things. And because I just have a genuine love and care for whatever I do and the people that I'm around, it gives me that drive to have the curiosity to ask the questions and then find the solutions. A lot of the time, people just
Hmm.
ask a bunch of questions, but then they never follow through with, okay, well, what do I do now? I have these questions.
Right.
So, how can I fix this? How can I improve this? And the internet, there's so many free resources. You literally do not have an excuse not to find solutions today. So,
Well, that's also the problem, because we have this overabundance of resources, and then we start looking at like one solution, and then we want to start comparing it to other solutions. And by the time we've done our comparisons, which could take hours and days, I feel like we're like, oh, now I've lost the time to actually implement anything, and I'm more
that's true.
confused than ever. So what actually should I be using? Because this looks good and this looks good. I think that's the one reason I like the term consulting versus coaching, because
Mm,
I feel like coaching is, a coach coming in to a business owner and basically asking questions. What do you think you should do? And trying to draw out the answers. A consultant is one who comes in as an expert and prescribes a solution. Here's what you should be doing. I don't
mhm.
think people have time for business coaching. I don't think business owners have time for business coaching
Mm,
anymore.
no,
If I look at our situation,
no.
we're a startup. I don't want someone to come in and say, "Hey, Pat, what do you think you should be doing here?" And trying to draw that answer out, with me
Yeah,
for an hour. I'd
yeah,
rather them do an assessment and say, "Hey, Pat, this is what you should be doing, highest and best use." Put that aside, right? Protect your flanks. Don't let anyone bother you in this. Go and solve that problem. This will 4x your business or whatever it's going to be. And that's the
yeah,
kind of thing I need. Is like, tell me what to do. I will go and do it. And I want to see a result, and then hopefully a return on investment for the time and effort and money I've put into that. So
yeah.
that's where we're going, I think. So go ahead.
I was just gonna say I totally agree with that, and that's why I don't like the coaching industry, because they're quite happy to, the statistics in the coaching industry is shocking. It's like 95% plus people never get the results, never do the courses or the programs or anything, never even look at it again. But they pay $10,000 a pop to join these programs and things. And the people are just quite happy to continue on that way and take people's money. It's just awful. I honestly don't like it at all. Um, but on the flip side to that, as a consultant, you sort of have to have a little bit of coaching skills, because you can prescribe things to a client but then they don't take action. And so
Sure.
that's half the other battle. But yeah, uh, I totally agree with what you said.
And not just a coaching skills. marriage counseling skills, perhaps. If you're dealing with a business where there's a husband and wife team,
Yeah.
you've got to have mediator skills, all those kinds of things to figure out how do you help people navigate the stress they're under and the
Mm.
relationships they're under there. So, what kind of things, what kind of topics are you exploring right now, or you're most interested right now?
I think I'm always looking at automation and AI is something that I'm always looking at. Um, but in technology, everything is moving so fast. So don't I don't spend too much time deep diving into any of these new AI things because it just keeps changing so quickly. I instead look at systems and things that I can integrate that I know it's around the framework of how I want to implement something, and then just plugging in these tools or automations that will help me to speed up that process. So I'm very interested in systems. I like looking at things like that. Um, Other stuff, I think um, any of the sort of technology that can also help you with content creation and speed up those things because we live in a world where um, this is really how we're going to connect with our audiences. And
Right.
the quicker you can create content and do it in a way that is, looks professional and doesn't take too much of your skill to learn, for example, video editing or things like this, and just sort of automate that process. I think that is definitely something good to always be on top of because it is building your brand, really, the content that you put out. And if you choose the right platforms like YouTube and a website, which is, Google is not going to go anywhere anytime soon. So the long-term strategy with YouTube and SEO, I still think from all of my marketing experience, those are really valuable assets, and every person should be thinking about building those pieces of assets on your website and YouTube because people find them for years to come. Yeah.
Right. Um, so I'm thinking of consultants who get discouraged because they create a few pieces of content, they put a few pieces out there, they maybe have done a 6-part video series, they get discouraged because people aren't finding them online. What do you think is the how much content do people actually have to put out these days, do you think, to actually move up in the search engines and get found?
I think why people get discouraged, first of all, is because they see some of these people that become, instant overnight sensations on YouTube because they made one video and then the algorithms picked that up and people loved it and things like that. And that surely does happen. But 99.9% of people have to just be consistent. You just got to focus on your thing. Don't look at what other people are doing. Don't compare yourself to other people. You just keep putting out really good, valuable content that you yourself would want to consume. If you do that, it will pay off. There's no way that it cannot pay off because you're putting out valuable content. If you look at people like Alex Hormozy, he puts out just a whole ton of free stuff, but it's all valuable. He's thought it through, and it's personal advice that he gives that he's applied for his own business or with his clients' businesses. So if you're honest, you have integrity, and you actually provide value, you just have to be consistent. But that's the key. Most people are not consistent. So they put out a couple
Right.
of things, they get no likes, they get no comments. And by the way, those things are actually just metrics that puff up your ego. They actually mean nothing in terms of the algorithms. What you want to what you want to track is from the content that you put out, how many people come to your website or whatever links that you share, and then how many sales do you make. Do not worry about likes or comments or all of those vanity metrics. They actually don't matter. There are people that
Yep.
have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and they make a full-time income from the traffic they get from there. So don't let that fool you. You just keep doing your thing, and you have to do at least 12 months to have a good idea if what you're doing is actually resonating with the audience that you're trying to reach.
Right. Well, you mentioned Alex Hormozy. I mean, no one's going to catch him, as no solopreneur is going to catch him in what he's doing and overcome him, because he's got a team of what, 10 or 12 or 15 people. They're doing about 50 pieces of content a day. You can't keep up with that. You can't compete with that. So, but maybe in your hometown, um, you can create enough content that you get views in your hometown. But it's more than just creating content, it's your other marketing efforts, your media efforts that you do, your publicity campaigns, all the joint ventures you put together, the networking you go to, all aspects of marketing combined. Social media just amplifies it. I learned a long
Yeah.
time ago, if you're putting out lousy content on the internet, all that will happen is that you will magnify the public's perception that you are a lousy consultant,
Yeah.
right? You're going to just get to that end game faster, which is entirely works against you. You have to
Mm.
have great content, or you will be seen very quickly as someone who, uh, to stay away from, frankly.
Yeah. And I think great content is just, is this valuable to the people that you're trying to reach? Are they going to walk away from it saying, wow, that's just, I learned something, that's really great, I can go implement this in my business, that's really going to help me? So, and there are plenty of YouTubers, for example, they make one video a year, literally one video a year, but they put so much effort and time into that one video that they have millions of subscribers and people can't wait for their next video. So it is about the
Yeah.
quality, it's not about the quantity. Yeah.
Do you ever remember Rich Schefren used to put out those reports?
Mm-hmm.
It was back in what, 2008 and 9. He was putting out
Yeah.
those massive reports. Forget the names of those, but they're probably worth looking up, because he put all this time into doing these 50, 60, 80-page reports full of research, full of advice. And he must have spent months and months putting those together. And it really skyrocketed him to fame. Um,
Mm.
but investing the time in high quality is really the difference.
Yeah, I think people know
Good.
that, and they make that, correlation between what you put out and how you're going to do business with them as well.
Yeah. So, do you have a word of encouragement, either from the scriptures or from your own personal experience, for other consultants out there that you'd like to share? Putting you on the spot. I'm sorry.
No, not at all. I think there are always two things that come to mind. The first thing is that you have to be still and know that He is God. So, no matter what happens, no matter what you face, no matter what you go through, we can sometimes in our own minds perceive that this is just so big, this is beyond us, or it's terrible, or anything like that. But if we just put things into God perspective, then we can get through anything. And we can find the wisdom and the peace that we need to make smart decisions. So that's the first one. And then, secondly, I would say for me personally, what drives me and helps me to, you know, love what I do and do it with passion and not I might not always have the mental, physical or emotional energy for everything because I'm human. But there's something that always drives me no matter if I lack in any of those areas, that still makes me feel like when I get up in the morning and I have to turn up for work, that I'm blessed and that I want to be a blessing. And that is
Yeah.
to always put my focus on letting my light shine and doing good works so that God gets the glory. And that's
Hmm.
my focus.
Amen. Amen. So, Jodine, our time's about up here. If people want to connect with you, where could they find you online, or how could they connect with you?
I think people can just Google Jodine Theron. There's not too many of us in the world. I'm mostly on LinkedIn and Facebook.
Great. Jodine Theron on, and just to spell that for those that are listening, it's Theron, Jodine
Yes,
Theron, and looking on
like
LinkedIn or Facebook. Great.
like the actress Charlize. She's also South African.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, she is. Okay.
yeah,
Your sister.
yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much today for joining us on the Consulting Kingdom, and we wish you all the best and rich blessings upon you.
Thanks, Patrick, and a lot of blessings for you, the company, and all of our audience listeners as well.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Consulting Kingdom. You've discovered valuable insights and strategies to enhance your consulting practice and to make a meaningful kingdom impact in your corner of the world. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on your favorite platform. Your feedback helps us to reach more consultants like you. To experience the Kingdom Growth Engine software firsthand and to stay connected, follow us on social media and visit our website at kingdomgrowthengine.com. Until next time, continue practicing your consulting skills, offer your assistance generously, bring value wherever you go, and serve with the heart of a king. Cheers!